My last video cut out. I turned it into a therapy session. I forgot to delete all my videos on my phone from the last few days. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway, I was droning on and on about how hard it can be to meet people sometimes and make plans if I'm not willing to be super flexible myself, you know. But you have to be a little bit selfish, I think, if you're traveling overseas and you're putting a lot of time and money into getting to a place and people are going to cancel on you and I have spent more time in Chengdu than most tourists, 11 days. But if someone's going to cancel on me one of those days, I was supposed to hang out with someone Sunday and we were supposed to go on a day trip actually, and she canceled at 3 in the morning. It's well, thanks for letting me know. That's nice. And just leave me hanging like a lot of people would do. But there was other people I could have hung out with and done a day trip with. And, then I spent the next day having a dumb coffee with her. And she's showing me her YouTube videos about her travels across the country and all this stuff. And that's interesting. But, I didn't really feel like it was a very good use of my time on my vacation exploration of Chengdu. Maybe at 7 at night, that would have been nice. But, if she had come to my hostel and I was already working on my computer and we sat and talked like we did in a coffee shop during the middle of the day. But it was a Monday, so there wasn't much going on anyway. And I was a little curious to see how Youku worked. So I've thought about opening up a Youku or Tudu account, but it's what I thought. There's no English translation, so I'd have to learn Chinese, and I couldn't just memorize a few web pages. If I want to get paid or something, I'd have to set up a bank account. It's complicated. So it was useful for that, I guess. But again, I don't think people understand, that's the kind of thing I'd rather do at 7 o'clock at night, sitting in my hostel comfortably, not going out of my way to meet in the middle of town at some expensive coffee shop. And I could have went and looked up the China Auto Racing Museum that I went to this morning on a Tuesday and realized it was non-existent, and I wouldn't have wasted a whole Tuesday morning getting out there and getting back over here. But I don't think unless you really have a hardcore travel agenda, you even think that way. But my thing is, it seems like a hardcore agenda, but my reason for doing it is because when I actually do go to a place like this museum, I want to be able to relax and enjoy it and look at everything and not do what most people do and be oh, well, only had time to see this or had to rush through it, or that's why I try to budget the time a little more so that you can actually relax and enjoy and spend time and see everything at a place. But to a certain extent, a lot of this stuff is just checking off stuff on a list, is what it amounts to. You can fool yourself into it being something grander, but the sense, I think, that you walk away with when you do kind of go to a place and see everything within that said museum, and then all the museums in Chengdu and all the day trips to the ancient towns, you walk away with a very complete understanding of that city. And you can hold it in your head as a integrated concept in a way that I think you couldn't if you're just going there and doing this and that and wandering around. And at least for me, I guess a lot of people, it's more about the whimsy of it. When you have 3 days, it has to be. This is his skull series, huh? Oh, and then the other thing is when it's so cold, you don't sleep well. A lot of the hostels here, this is why I wasn't looking forward to getting a hostel in Lijiang, where it's going to be even colder than here. They don't have central heating. They have a reverse, flow air conditioner heater unit thing high up in the ceiling, so the top of the room is burning hot, and then when you lie down in bed, it's super cold because all the hot air sticks around the high ceilinged room. It's like the most retarded setup. And Lijiang is like a small ancient city, old town. I've walked around it several times. I spent a week there. So it's like, if I get there, what am I going to do? Like, the whole point was that I wanted to go, originally it was Xingchuangbana. But, the way it works out now, it's like 10 days away from Chinese New Year, which to me is plenty of time to take a trip and go down and whatever. But I understand people have plans with their family. It's like a big deal. And I kind of didn't want to get sucked into the Chinese New Year because things get real busy for travel leading up to it, and then everything shuts down for like 10 days, especially in smaller areas, I think. Yeah, this would have been good to do on Friday because it was like 2 in the afternoon. We're like, oh, what are we going to do now? And that girl lived there for 8 years and she didn't know that this was here. And we passed right by it and I'm like, what is that? Hey, is that a museum? Can we stop? That looks interesting. Because I saw the dinosaur and sculptures and stuff. But I tried to pull up Google Maps. That's the problem sometimes, too, in China, is like the communication barrier with the internet being blocked. I tried to pull up Google Maps real quick and see what it was, but it was taking forever to load, and it when I was doing searches for museums too in Chengdu, it's weird, if you zoom in or out, you lose the museums, and then a lot of the things that it shows you for museums are like not really museums. So you have to be real careful. Like it'll be like yesterday I went to a bunch of shops around Wenshu Temple that were like, one was a pottery museum that looked like it might have been open at some time, but then it was like just locked up, shuttered. Then another was just like some ebony, one piece of ebony wood carved that was interesting, but it was like a restaurant. So that's it. I guess. See, I think what you're better off doing in life is just having your own plan, and people can come along for the ride if they'd like. And if they don't, they don't. I don't know if any of this is in English. All Chinese. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't take long, see? Need a whole extra day then to see this, It's like, could have done it in 20 minutes. Jesus.